Okay, so here we are at part 3 of the 3-inch body lift on the Murderado, or 2001 Z71 Silverado. It's pretty much done. I'll go over every single little detail in another video on exactly everything that needs to be done in order to make this possible. One thing that people might find scary is I have a lot of nuts and bolts left over, a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that I didn't use that came in the kit. So, but you can see it sits a lot higher. Looks really good. Lots of customizing work that needs to be done. Now I'm going to go over one thing real quick on the front of the truck and then in the back of the truck that have to do with mounting the bumpers. This one requires you're going to need a torch or a cutoff wheel, a grinder, or something like that. There's a section on the frame back here. This is the frame rail sticking out right here. You can see the tow hooks. There's a section that sticks out towards the middle here, which is the original bracket for this to bolt into, because you can see here's the aftermarket bracket to lift the bumper. Big spacer up here for the top bolt right up here and the top of the bumper to lift it up, and a new bolt to replace the bottom where bumper originally bolted here. But there's this whole bracketry system right here. As you can see, fresh cuts. You need to cut it completely off. It didn't say nothing about cutting this little bubble off in the front here. I don't know if you can see right here, I smushed it down. But that hits your plastic here. And even though I still had, I cut them and then I pounded them flat, I already bed lined over them or undercoated over them, but I still ended up having to cut the plastic anyways, which you're going to need some shears for, or a grinding wheel. I used a grinding wheel. It still needs to be cleaned up. It's still dirty. Still looks like crap. But we'll get to it. But anyways, like I said, you need to cut this section out for the tow hooks to be here. This thing almost didn't go back on, the bull bar, because it's hitting the hooks right here, but I still got it back on. But yeah, you need to cut this plastic out, you need to cut that steel out, and then like I said, these originally were like a bubble, like this. And I cut the top side, and then I just bent it down and pounded it flat as good as I could. I wish I probably should have cut them off. I didn't think you were gonna be able to see it that much, but oh well. But yeah, so as far as the front bumper goes, you need to do that. You need a cutoff wheel or a torch to cut that stuff off. And then over here, it just has these brackets that bolt here for the original location of where that bolted in. And this was a bitch to get it to line back up. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I mean, it's all aftermarket stuff, so everything, the geometry's off on everything. So remember that for the front bumper. Not as easy as people think to do these nice legit jobs. Now here is the original bumper brackets. I have the bumper up already, as you can see it's lifted, but it's just hanging there, it's not bolted in. And I left it half undone on the driver's side just to show you. You want to leave, here's the new bracket. It slides into the frame right here. We're on the driver's side rear corner of the rear bumper here. This bracket slides into the frame. I leave these bolts loose where they bolt, the bracket bolts to the bumper. And then out here, this is the corner bracket that comes off on an angle that goes to the corner of the bumper here. You want to loosen the two bolts in the bumper so you can swing it and move it back and forth, because this new bracket here has a flat nut, which is what's going to go through the frame rail here for the bracket here, and then it has another flat nut on the top right here for this bolt This is just a bolt that passes through, and then on the bottom there's a carriage bolt. So all you gotta do is just tighten the nut on the opposite side. Well, you want to leave this to swing, because if you bolt this bracket to this with this bolt sticking out, you're not going to be able to slide the bumper into there because the bolt will be here. So I left this all loose, and I left this loose so I can swing this, and now I can swing this in, and I can push that bolt into place, and then I can tighten everything up. And then what it looks like when it's done, I hope I'm explaining this good enough to you guys, because it's really hard to explain. This is the finished product now. It's not tight yet, but again, you can see there's the flat bolt here, and you would have never got that bolt in there with this bracket down tight right here. You can't even leave it loose enough to get it in there. So it has to be in there, and this has to be bolted up. So again, this is all loose, as you can see, but this is the way it looks if it was tightened. And like I said, there's a carriage bolt on the bottom. So this is going through the frame for this bracket with a nut on the other side, and then the same thing with the bottom, and then this is just coming through for this corner bracket along with the one that just passes through. But again, like I said, this is another flat bolt that's just facing the opposite way, because otherwise you never would have got it in with the frame right here. So it's a little difficult to figure out how to get it on, but again, like I said, just leave this loose so you can swing it like this with this piece attached to it, and just swing it into place. Either that or bolt this to the frame first. No, that ain't gonna work either, because you gotta be able to slide this in. See, that's the thing, it's like a puzzle. So yeah, just do it like I told you guys to. Leave this swinging, but have this bolted to it but loose, so when you slide it in, then you can just swing this into place. That's your best bet. So it was like a puzzle for me. It was a pain in the ass. So this is like the last thing, and then we'll have a part 4 going over all the other little tedious things that need to be done in order to have the job completed correctly. And I'll give you my final thoughts on the difficulty level of what it is, you know, how well the instructions were, and what my final conclusion is on what I think of this Zone Offroad body lift for the Chevy Silverado. So again, stay tuned. We'll be back with episode 4.